Welcome back, everybody, to more from the Sable Eyes. I'm here today with Jordan. How's it going, Jordan?
Not too bad.
That is good, and we are having a look at Sean Chia's 4th placed Singapore special event list. That is Zoroark Greninja, a list that we've thought about a little bit, but no one's really been able to get to work, and it seems that Sean has been able to master that, so congratulations to him.
And looking at this list, I think that it looks pretty consistent. Like, it seems like it's the kind of list that I would expect to see from a top deck, just a few different Pokemon in there.
100%, so let's have a bit of a run through and see what we've got. Starting us off, we obviously have our main attacker in the deck, that is Greninja and Zoroark Tag Team GX. One of the GXs that everyone was super hyped for when it was announced, but fell by the wayside a little bit. For a Dark Energy and a Colorless, it has Dark Pulse, which is 30 plus 30 for each Dark Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Reminds me of the old Darkrai EX, Jordan.
It is pretty much exactly the same as the old Darkrai that did well. It was about 2 years ago now, I think, but this guy has quite a bit more HP, a bit more damage, and he's got a very interesting GX attack, which I did not think that this card was going to be utilizing too often, but this list is specifically focused on pulling off this GX attack early, it seems.
Yeah, so Dark Union GX allows you to put 2 in any combination of Dark Pokemon GX and EX. It's obviously going to be GX Pokemon. From the discard pile onto the bench, and if we have an extra energy attached, in addition to the attack cost, we can attach 2 energy cards from the discard pile that we put onto our bench. Now, we're probably not going to be doing the energy attachment, but we certainly would like to put some GXs onto the field. It's not going to be Greninja Zoroark, though. It's going to be Incineroar GX. We are playing 2 copies of this card in this list, with no other Pokemon from which it evolves. So obviously the only way to get this one into play is by using the Greninja Zoroark GX attack. And the reason we're using it is because of its ability Scar Charge. Once during your turn, put 3 damage counters on this Pokemon and search your deck for 3 energy cards, and then attach them and shuffle your deck. So after you've attacked with Greninja Zoroark, Dark Union GX puts hopefully 2 Incineroar onto the bench, double Scar Charge, suddenly you have 6 new energy in play.
One of the downsides, I would say, to using that GX attack with Greninja Zoroark is that you're sacrificing an attack that you would usually be dealing damage with. But if you sacrifice, say, doing a 2-hit KO to get 2 Incineroars in play and then get a 1-hit KO on the next turn, thanks to Scar Charge, it doesn't really seem like you're a turn behind after all.
Yeah, so obviously Incineroar has its own attacks that we might find ourselves using. Crushing Punch does 130, which is not a bad number realistically. It knocks out lots of little basic non-GXs, but we do give up the ability to use Darkest Tornado GX. Quite a good attack, but we're never going to use it because in order to get the Incineroar in play, we have already used a GX attack, so no real point talking about it. Now, obviously, that seems like it's a pretty straightforward strategy. What happens if it doesn't work? Well, we're running a 3-3 line of Naganadel, so we can supplement our Scar Charge energy attachment with charge-ups from Naganadel, and over time we're going to be able to increase the amount of Dark Energy that are in play. So we're not all in on Incineroar, we've got a backup plan just in case.
I actually remember when we were first discussing building this type of archetype, we were having the debate of whether we play Naganadel or whether we play Incineroar, but I don't think any of us ever contemplated the idea of playing both. And Naganadel obviously is a very strong combination with Zoroark Greninja, just because if you don't want to give up your turn 2 using your GX attack, you can just go full on aggression with charging up and start taking early knockouts in the beginning of the game without even needing Incineroar.
100%, and Naganadel with Turning Point actually mitigates some of the weakness that Greninja Zoroark has. Weak to fighting type, Naganadel can potentially get a couple of knockouts here or there on any fighting types that might come to threaten our big GX Pokemon. So a good inclusion. That's our engine. In order to get ourselves set up though, we have 1 copy of Tapu Lele GX, as well as 1 copy of the Dene, and a little Let Loose Marshadow.
The Marshadow in particular seems really strong because, as we were just saying, you might have to give up a turn in the early game to set up your Incineroar GXs, and if you can kind of use Let Loose on that turn to slow your opponent down, then all of a sudden that attacking turn that you've given up they're potentially going to be having just as slow a start as you are.
Yeah, so Let Loose, very, very important. We also have a copy of Bench Barrier Mew. This is to stop things like Dugong coming along and absolutely wrecking our day by knocking out our baby Pokemon. Poipol's obviously got 70 HP, but with a Mew or a Giratina they can get knocked out. And just placements of 60 can be annoying, so we just want to stop that from happening.
And of course there's always the GX attack from Pikarom, which is going to be a problem for any deck that's playing Lele and Dedenne. Dugongs can also set up knockouts on our attacking GXs, such as Incineroar and Zoroninja, so there's definitely a lot of uses for Mew. It's pretty much a standard inclusion in most decks that can afford to bench it at this point.
100%, good card. Moving on to our supporter line, we've actually got a 3 count of Lily in this list, not a 4 count like we're used to saying. Instead, we have 4 copies of Cynthia. Obviously, Sean choosing to go for the shuffle draw over hitting that Lily on turn 1. We have 3 copies of Guzma and 1 copy of Acerola. Our Pokemon all have quite high HP, and since we've got Energy Switch in the deck, then we can afford to kind of Acerola, play the Greninja back down, Greninja Zoroark back down, and then attach an Energy, switch it in, Energy Switch onto it and start attacking again. So Acerola, a very important card in this particular deck.
Also, another cute play that you could use with Acerola is to pick up Incineroar GX that you've put a lot of damage counters on due to its ability. The only downside is if you ever pick it up with Acerola, it's never coming down the bench again, so you have to be very careful with when you want to do that, but certainly a good card for preventing your opponent from taking extra prizes.
Yeah, can put those one-shots out of range. The other supporter that we're playing is a one-of copy of Red's Challenge. This card's starting to sneak into quite a few decks. We learnt after we put out our last video that Red's Challenge was actually quite common in lots of the decks in Southeast Asia over the last couple of weeks. Good card, discard 2 and search your deck for any card, put it into your hand, just like the old computer search from back in the day, Jordan. Pretty good.
Computer search was a very good card, and obviously Red's Challenge is just a downgraded version of that. It's still like nothing to set aside your looks at, because there's a lot of, well, not a lot of, but there are one-off cards in this deck, such as Prism cards, that you can only really search for with Red's Challenge at the moment.
Yeah, so let's have a look at some of the things that you might search for. We'll go down into our stadiums first, because that one-of you were talking about, Black Market Prism, if put down at the right time against the right deck, this can potentially completely cripple your opponent's win conditions. It means that there are some games where they need to knock out 3 Greninja Zoroark in order to win the game.
Yeah, and obviously it's not only Greninja Zoroark that it prevents your opponent taking extra prizes on. It can also affect your Incineroar GXs, being only able to give away 1 prize. So if this stays in play, even just for 1 knockout, it's already paid for itself. But if it ever stays in play for more, it's kind of just mean.
Yeah, it's quite cruel, isn't it? So, like, if you ever get this in play for more than 1 turn, you'll be feeling quite happy. We also have a couple of other stadiums. This deck actually has the liberty of running multiple different types of stadiums. We've got 2 copies of Viridian Forest. Viridian Forest obviously discards cards in order to search for energy. We want Incineroar GX in the bin, and we want Dark Energy to attach to our Greninja Zoroark. So this is one of the perfect ways to go about doing it. The only reason we don't play 3 of them is because we have 1 copy of Altar of the Moon, which means that all of our Dark Pokemon have a retreat cost of 2 less. And you'll notice that Greninja Zoroark has a retreat cost of 2. So we've effectively got a 250 HP Pokemon that deals expandable damage with no retreat.
It's actually even better than that, because it actually reduces the retreat cost of any Pokemon with a Psychic or Dark Energy attached. So if you have a Dark Energy on pretty much all of your Pokemon, which you almost always will, it even allows all of your other Pokemon to be able to retreat for free most of the time.
Yeah, so quite a nifty little inclusion there. Looking at the rest of our items, we've got 2 copies of Nest Ball. Seems quite low when you're thinking about it, because, oh hey, most of the Pokemon that you want are basics that you want to put on the bench, but there's actually a better ball search card in this deck, and that is Mysterious Treasure. Mysterious Treasure will search out pretty much everything in your list apart from your main attacker, and it has the added benefit of being able to discard your Incineroar GX, and if you don't hit one of those, then you can always just Ultra Ball. This is the only way to search out things like Dedenne as well. But hey, 4 copies of Ultra Ball is never a bad count.
Between the 4 copies of Ultra Ball, the 2 copies of Viridian Forest, and of course the 3 copies of Mysterious Treasure, there are so many ways to discard cards from your hand, even Red's Challenge if you need to. So all of a sudden, getting those 2 Incineroars into the discard pile on the first or second turn of the game doesn't sound that difficult to do, and it'll mean that your Naganadels are hitting pretty hard very quickly.
100%, and we have a couple more cards to run through. Got 1 Rescue Stretcher. Our main attacker, we're only running a 3 count, so if 1 or 2 of them are prized, we probably want to get it. It also means that we can grab ourselves a Lele or something else that has disappeared. Nothing really special to talk about there. We've got 1 copy of Field Blower, get rid of things like Wishful Batons or those pesky Shedinjas that are popping up all over the place. We can just blow them away so that we can start taking some prizes. And finally, we have 3 copies of Energy Switch. Since we have a lot of energy in play and we want to keep that energy in play, we can play multiple copies of Energy Switch to keep our attackers streaming, which means that things like Greninja Zoroark, if they're getting Ace rolled up, it's not the end of the world.
And even if they're not, just switching between Greninja Zoroarks every couple turns is just applying a lot of pressure on your opponent, forcing them to find Guzmas on turns that they potentially wouldn't want to. And even if they do get Guzma, if you've moved the energy off of the damaged Pokemon, they're not going to be getting quite as much value out of that knockout.
Yeah, and if they words are hard. If you have one of these cards on your Zoroark Greninja, then suddenly it's going to be even more difficult to knock out. Choice Helmet is the go-to item in this particular list. It means that your Pokemon are taking 30 less damage from the attacks of Pokemon GX and EX. Choice Band not included in this list, considering pretty much like as soon as you get your Incineroar into play, you don't need to expand your damage. You're already doing 300 or something obscene. Why would you need extra? So Choice Helmet, a good option as a defensive item.
I mean, you could almost say that we're already playing 13 Choice Bands because Dark Energy is almost exactly the same as Choice Band in this deck. And Choice Helmet is kind of almost an anti-Choice Band for this list because it's just literally the opposite version of Choice Band. Yep. It does worry me a little bit that Field Blower does seem to be increasing in counts quite a bit, so passive tools like this one, which your opponent can get rid of straight away and they have no use, do scare me a little, but if it sticks in play, 250 or I can't remember if it's 250 or 260 HP on Zoro Ninja, it's a lot.
Yep.
It's enough that forcing your opponent to hit 30 more damage is pretty relevant.
Yes, 280 is a lot more difficult to hit than 250 is for some decks, and so Choice Helmet could mean that your Greninja Zoroark survives when it rightly shouldn't. Finally, to round out the deck, we have 13 copies of Dark Energy. Like Jordan said, this is our damage, so we need to make sure that we've got as many as possible. Even though we need to attach 2 to our Pokemon, we want to attach as many as we possibly can to increase the damage by as much as we can. So, let's see how it goes. Lots of potential, but it's one of those decks where you just never know. I'm probably like feeling some PTSD from when I tested it early on, Jordan.
Didn't go so well for you?
Yeah, no, not great in the early testing and proxy boxing, things like that. We kind of we found ourselves in quite a lot of problems, especially when our Incineroars got knocked out. But that was also when we were playing things like Lycanroc in Zoroark as well. So maybe it's not so bad. We're going to start off with a Zoro Ninja here as well.
It certainly doesn't seem as bad as it would have been in a past format. I think now that the meta's kind of defined a bit more, it looks like it's got a bit more room for being pretty strong in this meta. I don't know if it's got that many strong matchups against the top decks, but I don't think it has any like super bad matchups either.
No, well, we're about to find out how it goes. We're going second here, so it might be that our Incineroar play is not the one straight away. It obviously depends on how our opponent sets up. But this could potentially be a game where we just try and set up Naganadels and keep attacking as frequently as we can and maybe get our Incineroar in play if we get the opportunity to.
I mean, we do have double Ultra Ball in hand, so it's not that unrealistic for us to go for Incineroar play turn 2. I mean, I don't know if it's the ideal play we would go for. It depends on the matchup, obviously. If this is Pikarom, then we might end up needing those extra damage from Incineroars on the bench.
Yeah, so if this is Pikarom, then we probably will be going for it. But if it's Zapdos, we might be able to just focus down Zapdos with a small amount of energy on the field. Electromagnetic Radar coming out from our opponent here. So we'll find out very shortly what we are up against.
The fact that we've seen a Lele in the active, and now they're searching for a couple more Lightning GXs, I think it's fairly safe to say it is that Pikarom we see just there.
Yes, it is. It looks like it might be. So obviously now Mew is an important card to bring out. We don't necessarily want to bring it out straight away. We want to make our opponent think that we don't play it, so that when they're committed to their GX attack, they don't have access anymore. Interestingly as well, Choice Helmet means that they will require an extra Electro Power to get to 280. In fact, they probably need, they need 3 modifiers rather than just 2. So if we can get a Choice Helmet and start setting up for our Incineroar, that's probably not a bad idea.
Pikarom is also a deck which is often not playing tool removal, so it's especially strong against Pikarom.
Yeah, so we've got ourselves an Ultra Ball here. I don't actually think we need the Dedenne. We might chuck that away.
I think the best 2 plays here is either playing the Cynthia or just using Lele and getting a Lily.
I think Lele for Lily is probably the way to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the Dedenne and the Cynthia and then Lily into a big hand. What do you say?
Seems fine to me.
Let's do that. With the Ultra Ball, we're going to grab ourselves something. We've got our 2 Incineroar there.
You could even grab an Incineroar and then Ultra Ball it away with the other Ultra Ball.
That's true, we could do that. And we could even chuck that Dark Energy in the bin as well, so that an Aganadel later on is available to us. We'll chuck that Incineroar away. We can grab this one, or we can grab ourselves a Poipole. But if we grab a Poipole, then a Mysterious Treasure doesn't get rid of this Incineroar. I reckon this is probably fine. We'll grab this one and just make sure, yep, we've got Lilies. Cool. So we'll grab this Incineroar.
And even if we can't discard the Incineroar this turn, we won't be able to use our GX attack this turn anyway. It's only a turn 2 play. Yeah, so we've got plenty of opportunities to find it.
Yeah, so we'll put down that Lele, then Lily, and see what we come up with. We've got ourselves a Poipole, which is good. We've got a Dark Energy, which I'm going to attach. I'm considering the Nest Ball, but this is not the most amazing hand we've got, but at least we do have the Mew.
Well, we almost don't have much room to bench many more Pokemon, because ideally we're going to be getting 2 Incineroars out.
Yeah.
And we want to bench the Mew. We don't really have much more bench space.
That's true, so we might just leave it for the moment. Choice Helmet, probably not worth it. We want to save that for a bit. We'll just pass. Let's see what happens. Because our opponent's best case scenario here is that they get a full Blitz and stack all their energy onto the active, which would be great for us, because it means that we can set ourselves up and try and get a big ol' knockout as long as we get ourselves another energy.
There is the chance that they could just go all in here and try and get a knockout with Tagbolt GX. I don't know if that's the ideal play, but it's certainly an option they could go for if they think it's going to leave us in a terrible spot, which to be fair, it probably would.
Yes, but here's the full Blitz. We'll find out exactly what's about to happen, and based on their board state, I'd imagine that the energy is going to be going, yep, straight onto this Pikachu Zekrom. So we've got the Mew, which means we are going to be able to halt that play. Disappointing though that we don't have another energy. We might be in a position where we just need to energy switch our energy onto another Greninja Zoroark. Although if we do,
yeah, I don't see any other plays that we can really go for. If we had just an energy, we could at least GX for 1 Incineroar, but that doesn't seem like an option with this hand.
No. Well, we'll see what happens. We're just going to have to sacrifice this one and hope for the best. The good thing, though...
Seeing what you mean by having some bad games with this deck in the past.
Yes, it can clunk up, but that's okay. It's one of the most consistent lists of it that I've seen, so, you know, what does that say? But hey, sometimes you just have bad hands.
And to be fair, we did in this game open with both Lele and Dedenne GX and removed both of those options for us.
Yeah, very early on. There he is, that Dedenne in the bin. So this is probably going to go down as a big ol' L, but at least we don't find ourselves in a position where we're going to immediately lose the game. Our opponent, though, if they are smart, just full blitzes for the knockout and moves on with their life, surely.
You'd think so. They seem to be thinking about it pretty hard.
Yeah, they'll just get another Pikachu Zekrom with this Nest Ball. Full blitz for knockout, put 3 on the bench and lock us effectively out of the game. But no goes for the Raikou. This is a card that we saw quite a lot of at Sydney Regionals in the Pikachu Zekrom list that made top 8.
Yeah, and
Very
it's interesting that they're going to go for it in this matchup, but it's never a bad card to have an option to go for.
Certainly not. So, attaching 3 energy to the Zoroark here. We're going to promote ourselves. It's kind of awful. This is just bad.
Seems like we really need a lot this turn. Like, we need that Dark Energy we just top decked, but we also need a supporter and a way to discard that Incineroar GX, because I don't know if it's worth it just GXing for the one Incineroar. I think we probably just have to go for it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is there's no other option for us, really. We'll attach the Choice Band and Choice Helmet, and then, I guess, GX, and hope for the best from there.
Get one of those Zoro Ninjas out of the discard pile if we want to.
I guess that's true. Yeah, we could. Let's do that. Let's just do the thing. Let's Dark Union GX. Get our fellas out. And then we've at least got a Scar Charge for later, but... oh, it's bad. We need more than we've got. That's what we need. It's bad.
If that Zoro Ninja was the second Incineroar, then I think we would have just enough damage to be able to find it next turn, assuming we got both an Igatadel and an attachment from hand. But looking at our hand, that doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, no, we need about 6 cards off of the top here, because in reality, all our opponent needs to do is just attack with Full Blitz once, and they'll be fine. So... yeah, not a good example here, and they're gonna Guzma. What are they gonna? They're just gonna Guzma the Mew. This is very interesting. But I guess it means that they kill the Tapu Lele, don't they?
If we don't find Rescue Stretcher next turn, killing that Mew will basically lock up the game.
100%. So we'll see what happens here.
This is going to be one of those hands where we either top deck like a god, or we go to the next hand.
Yeah. So our opponent just sitting there at the moment, thinking about how hard they should press Plasma Fists, deciding to attach an energy first, which is kind of them.
Maybe they should be the ones playing Zoro Ninja. They've got quite a few energy on board.
Maybe. Let's just have a look there, Jordan. How much would they be doing?
What is it? 30? Oh, they've even got 3 more from a Full Blitz, so...
how many energy does Pikachu Zekrom play, traditionally?
I think it's 11 to 12 usually.
Alright, well... I guess what we're doing here is we're letting loose and we're hoping for the best.
There's a pretty good chance that they have got all of their energy on the board right now.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, if I can replace this stadium, maybe they just can't GX attack for the knockout.
I mean, obviously they have cards like Energy Switch available, but...
yeah. Look at this. We're just gonna give ourselves a bunch of energy. We're gonna get as much as we possibly can. Put a whole ton of it in play, and then we're gonna Lily and get nothing.
I think we're actually gonna be, is it 30 damage off of the knockout here?
I think so. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, we're on 200. No, I think we're on 240. We're on 240.
Oh, right, it has base 30, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're just there. So, hey, we can at least take this knockout. And what we might do, I don't know, maybe put the Choice Helmet on the Tapu Lele so they can't Guzma it out. But
it also means if they get a Tag Bolt off, they cannot knock out the Lele on the bench.
This is true. So, hey, you never know. Maybe we've got ourselves a chance. That's a lot of energy.
Yeah, all of a sudden. This game seems winnable. Like, we've got game next turn if we draw a Guzma. Or if they miss this turn.
Yeah. Hey, we'll wait and see. This could be the turn up for the books.
I actually
we've still got the Coco on the bench.
I thought the Zero only got 2 energy when I was doing my calculation for last turn. The fact that they got 3 energy is all we really needed.
Yep, that's 100% correct. But you'd think that it's still very doable from their perspective. Using Dance of the Ancients here. It's going to put a couple more energy in play.
They're probably going to be able to pull off a full effect for Tag Bolt on this turn. Thanks to the Choice Helmet on the bench, I believe the Lele is safe.
I hope so.
There's nothing else on the bench they can knock out that's a GX. So we might be able to live a turn.
We might be able to live a turn, and if we live a turn, I think we win. Especially if they attack with...
If the Pikarom stays in the active, we will.
With Pikarom, I imagine it. No, it goes for the Plasma Fists. Fair enough. Okay,
we need a Guzma.
Guzma. That wasn't it.
It's not quite a Guzma.
Not quite a Guzma. What we...
Also non-Acerola.
what we could potentially do is just take a knockout, like we attach down here, retreat,
Yes.
and go from there.
I think that's all we can really do. But I feel like if we don't heal this, I mean, I guess we could get a stadium replacement and maybe prevent the tag bolt from happening next turn. I think that's what we have to go for in this turn, because if they get tag bolt, then they can just finish off the Zoroark on the bench.
How are we stopping? Oh, we need we need to replace the stadium to get rid of their. And sorry, I'm spacing out. Okay. So
Any stadium.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Ultra Ball these cards away. We don't need them, and then we're going to give ourselves a big old Cynthia.
Then a couple extra cards of Incineroar potentially.
Yeah, but then we put ourselves. Oh no, we don't. That's fine. Scarf thingy here. 1, 2, 3. Energies. Pop, pop, pop. It's a big Incineroar.
Here we go. Just need a stadium. Even a black market would be especially good.
Well, there's an Ultra. And we've got an Ace Roller for next turn, so...
More importantly, we have Use for next turn.
That's true, and we keep our energy in play as well, which is really cool. So, bang, knockout, doing 360 damage. It's probably the best we could have hoped for without winning the game. Now we just have to hope that everything works out for the best.
The only thing that could have been better on that turn is if we were able to find another choice helmet. Obviously, the 2 on the board, so it was really just the Ace Roller we needed to find on that last turn. Looks like they've just got the clean knockout on the active with Tag Bolt.
Yep.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
Choice helmet didn't even matter.
Well, hey, it was still a decent game. I was very surprised we got that close. So after a horrifically bad start, tell you what, did we ever? But hey, it's worth playing another one. Oh, I get to choose a thing. What do you reckon? Dragon or Steel?
There's a psychic one maybe, but
no, psychic's already got the 3. Let's
not even level.
Dragon, that's fine. I'll just play a couple of games of Ultra Necrozma. That's a little insight into my life there, trying to decide what's going on.
Don't even have max level yet, Mitch.
Oh, no, I know. It's almost as if I do all of my testing in real life, like a human being. PTCGO is not my go-to, because I get very upset when I draw poorly, and blame it on the computer. So... Well, it's the computer's fault we lost. It's the computer's fault we lost. So let's move on to this one. We're playing against something that is fire. So you never know.
Probably Rashizard, if I had to guess.
We will see. Got ourselves a Poipole, which is not an awful opener. It's not an amazing one. It's not awful.
Rashizard seems a bit scary because Rashizard and Zoroark probably have similar damage outputs overall, but Zoroark doesn't quite get there on turn 2 like Rashizard does.
But if we get a choice helmet, then neither does Rashizard, so we'll do our very best. Alright.
Yeah, I think the choice helmet might
specifically
be attacked for this matchup.
I can't believe that we got another energy switch and another Lily. We couldn't have given ourselves. We couldn't have given ourselves something else. Oh boy, we had the thingamajig there as well. Oh boy, that's okay. Well, hey, at least we've got ourselves a couple of Poipole if we want them. We can Mysterious Treasure away this Mew. He's not going to come up. We might even be able to just like Mars Shadow or something this turn. Let's have a look. I don't know, Jordan. I'm spitballing here. What do you reckon?
I don't know if it's worth going for Let Loose this turn. I mean, ideally we could get a another Poipole, but we've already got 2, so even that doesn't seem good. I would actually just grab the Gyarados here, to be honest.
Let's grab it. We'll see what happens. I'll play down the Poipole, and I reckon we might just pass here. I don't think there's anything else that we really need to do.
Yeah, in an ideal world, next turn, we want to be able to use Energy Switch to power up a Zoroark and using Charging Up to get an extra energy to retreat. It's going to be asking for a lot, but I don't think it's that big a deal if we don't get it.
It's not impossible, but it's also not improbable. We can do it. And our opponent just going for Flare Starter here, so... And going all in on this Rashizard. Yeah, this is
that could be a busted hand, but all they did was touch a Fire Energy.
It was. So what we could do here, we can Ultra Ball, grab ourselves a Zoroark, retreat, get the Naganadel into play, and then Cynthia. I think that's probably our best option.
I agree.
So we'll go for that. We'll see what happens. Like we said before, unlikely to get a big attack off this turn, but you never know. We could just get everything.
So we can at least get a small attack off if we draw another energy switch and an energy.
Yeah, well, there's an energy switch and an energy, so that seems fine. Can't get... Can we get an Incineroar this turn? We've got a couple.
We can get one, I think, with this hand, but not two, unless we go for Let Loose.
Is it worth it?
Because we only saw one fire energy played from our opponent, I feel like it's probably safer to just take a small half hit on this Volcanion.
Alright, let's do that. We'll do that.
We do have the choice helmet, so it's not that big a risk to bring the Zoroark Head to the active.
No, that's true. And we could even use the Mysterious Treasure to get ourselves another Naganadel into play, so give ourselves another energy.
Would that be enough for the knockout if we do that? I think it would be.
It would be, so let's just do that, shall we?
Seems like a fine play to me.
We'll get that. And we can put down the choice helmet, take a prize, and a top deck gets us into a Lele next turn, so let's just do all those things. There's not much more we could have not much more we could have really asked for.
I mean, obviously this is a risky play. It is entirely possible for them to get the knockout this turn if they get something like a Field Blower, or maybe even just another 3 energy to use their GX attack. But it certainly makes it hard for them.
Yeah, so we've kind of taken the gamble that their hand wasn't a great one. We'll wait and see. They're chucking away a fire energy. Here comes a fiery flint, so we could be about to get GX for 300.
Yeah, all I need is a welder.
Yep, this could be bad, but it's okay. We've still got a energy switch. Uh-oh.
I think that's what they're going to be doing.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is bad. Bang.
This is almost as bad a position as it was last game against Pikarom. And we ended up winning that one.
Oh,
sorry, we almost ended up winning that one.
Oh, indeed, from our opponent. It's pretty wild. Okay, so we can Nest Ball, and then Lily.
Lily. Seems good.
So let's Nest Ball, get ourselves a Zoroark.
Well, the biggest question is how are we going to deal with this Reshizar, which is just going to keep getting knockout after knockout, unless we deal with it like right now.
Well, let's attach an energy.
We've got Let Loose, which is pretty strong considering they've got a fairly decent hand size here.
Yeah, I'm going to chuck away this Zoroark. I don't think we're going to need another one. What are we after? We want...
Maybe just a Poipole. I don't think we're ever going to get a chance to spend a turn for Incineroar this game.
And we've got to get into the Let Loose, so we're going to we got to get into the energy switch off the Let Loose to even give ourselves a chance. So let's just go for it. When we hit it, we can pop off. It can be amazing.
Ideally, we get another choice helmet would be nice. That's not a great hand.
It's not an amazing hand, but it's.
I guess it's just a sack the Let Loose hand. I guess.
Yeah, I think it is. I think we just retreat, and we'll do our charge ups, and yeah, sack the Let Loose. Worst case scenario, well, worst case scenario, we lose the game. So.
Well, what do you think of the idea of putting the black market down just to kind of
mitigate
give away that? I mean, I don't know if it's
fine.
worth it just because if they get it, they probably win anyway, and it'd be better to save it when they put Heat Factory down. But hey, at least they can't win this turn without a slightly harder combo.
They need another thing, so they're playing green, so they're not going to win this turn. We've got ourselves
probably means
a
they are going
chance.
to get Heat Factory.
We've got a chance. Although 270 is going to be quite difficult to hit.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a number we're going to be able to hit next turn. We're probably going to have to settle for a 2-hit. And is a 2-hit good enough? Probably not.
Well, here's the thing. They have to attack with... Yeah, they have to attack with Outrage, so... They're not even going to take the knockout. We could potentially just... we could just sit here and do
it's interesting they did that. Because I think they could have used Flame Strike, because they did GX attack last turn.
Yeah, they could have, but the thing with that is that they haven't got the ability to Flare Strike for next turn if they were to do that. So,
correct.
So they just need to hold on to it. I think we just sit on this.
If we're lucky, they'll give us enough time to eventually get the one-hit KO.
Yeah, so...
We're at 180 now. If we get an Ultra Ball next
Oh,
turn.
no, it's Guzman. It's over. Game's over.
Oh, yep.
Let's stop talking about
Fair
it. We couldn't do anything about that. That was pretty rough, but hey, it's definitely got an opportunity to win, and as long as you don't, just draw really poorly like we did.
That game was actually really unfortunate luck. Like, I think that was well under.
Do you think we should play? Like, I mean, we've been going for 35 minutes. Do you think we should play another game, or should we just leave it there?
I reckon we could fit another one in.
Let's play another one. We'll play another game. We'll see how we go. Maybe we can get a good one.
I mean, it feels wrong to have two fairly average draws, especially since we almost ended up winning one of them. We got to show off the deck at its peak, right?
Yeah, well, but that's the risk, right? Is that we don't show it off at its peak. We just lose. It could potentially happen. So we'll see. Hopefully,
I'm feeling confident. I reckon we can pull this off.
Hopefully, our opponent loads into the game here. Here he goes.
Did you catch the typings for this game? I actually didn't see it.
I think it was blue and brown, so I reckon we're looking at like Quagsire Ganadel or something.
That could be an interesting matchup. I don't think that would go too badly, although they do have some fighting tech attackers they could use.
They do. We don't have any Pokemon there, so we'll chuck those back in and try and get ourselves another one. If they do play down their fighting tech attackers, then we've got a Ganadel that can deal with them. So we'll see.
This is true.
We'll see if that's the way out.
Although the ones that
the ones they play are actually weak to grass. So what am I talking about?
I mean, they still get knocked out by full power training points, so
yes,
it's still an option.
It's enough.
And also, both of their fighting tech attackers actually don't knock out a Zoroark unless they have Choice Band, but they can just put down Choice Band and then it's a problem.
Yes, that is true. And we start off with Mew, which, if we're playing against this deck, could potentially come up because Volcanion Prism is a card that they play.
That is true, and
yes.
so is Wailord, and we see it in the active right there.
Instantly, straight away. So, luckily, we've got a deck that can quite easily do 300 damage. It's just a matter of making sure that we get into those cards when we need them. What do you reckon we do in this hand here, Jordan?
Well, this is actually a really strong hand. We've got the ability to Ultra Ball away both the Dark Energies if we choose to. We can probably just get a Tapu Lele GX for Lily and use Nest Ball to get either a Zoroark or just another a Poipole. Both seem like fine options. And we've got the Black Market as well. Probably not the best time to use it, but it's not the worst time either.
No, we could potentially put it down, get ourselves an extra card off of our Lily. Depends on... Well, now we've got a Viridian Forest as well, so we can thin even more. Means that we could potentially chuck away a Incineroar GX off of an Ultra Ball if we were feeling really, really wild.
Well, obviously we'd still want to Ultra Ball for Tapu Lele, but if we end up drawing an Incineroar off of the Lily, then we can get discarded really easily.
We can, and we've got a Mysterious Treasure as well, so we've got the full gamut of options. We are going to Nest Ball to grab ourselves...
This looks to me like a Lily for 8.
This does look like a Lily for 8, so we're going to grab ourselves Zoroark Greninja. Now what do we do? What are we doing? We're Ultra Balling away the 2 energy.
Yep. And we're going to get Tapu Lele GX.
We certainly are. Just make sure that we do have lilies in deck. I didn't actually check. Yes, we do. Excellent.
And now the Mysterious Treasure can discard the Guzma and get ourselves a Poipole. And this seems like a pretty good start.
This seems like a perfect start. If only the Mew in the active wasn't a Mew in the active, but ultimately we probably would have put it down anyway, wouldn't we?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Alright, Poipole coming down. Black Market onto the field. And Lily 4-8.
Unfortunately not able to take advantage of that Viridian, but I don't think it's too important at this point anyway.
No, it's not the end of the world. We can attach onto the bench. We can Nest Ball and Mysterious Treasure if we would like to. How many energy? We have 2 in there.
Doesn't seem like we really need any more Pokemon this turn, though. We could potentially get another Poipole if you think we'll need a second Nagano next turn. I don't know.
I think there's a part of me that wants to leave those spaces open for Incineroars, but there's no Incineroar in the discard, so it might be worth just setting ourselves up with the Poipole and going from there.
Yeah, I agree. The Incineroar is obviously better against GX-focused decks, and even though we are lucky they did open with Wailord, we are still going to be versing non-GXs for the majority of this game.
That is true, so We'll put down those Poipoles and we'll go from there.
It's actually very interesting that we've almost got a somewhat mirror match here, where we're both using the Ganadol to charge energy onto the board, and our damage output is determined by the number of energy we have in play.
I think we probably just promote our attacker. Like, what's the actual risk? I don't think we have any.
They're not attacking us this turn, realistically.
Yeah. I don't think there's any risk.
They could just
before we get half
scenario. Yeah, just worst case scenario is they put 3 energy on a Quagsire and hit us for 120. Or they could use Volk Prism, I suppose.
But if they do that, then we just knock them out, so...
Exactly. I think they actually just helped us with that Volk Prism.
Yeah, if anything, it looks like maybe they just did that to get the energy in the play so that they could Aqua Patch and then Lily, so yeah, very kind of them, very generous.
Certainly a fine thing to do, we're not complaining, but...
I tell you what. Oh, I was concerned for a second there, but that's mainly because I'm an idiot and I've got no idea what's going on. That's actually funny here because we're in a position where we can just half hit this Magikarp Wailord next turn, and they've got no realistic way of getting it into. They've got no realistic way of getting it out of the active. So it's looking
also, this is a game where hopefully we'll be able to make full use of that tech Field Blower that this list is playing, and I feel like this is one of the main matchups that that Field Blower comes in clutch against.
Yeah, we could potentially have our opponent trying to. Oh, there's a switch. So. Best laid plans of mice and men must surely come awry. But that's okay.
Yeah, probably not taking a knockout this turn.
Probably not, but that's okay. We can chuck down the Ganadel. We can attach an energy to our active. We'll charge up first just to make sure that nothing goes wrong.
Yep.
Attach
and then we could even Mysterious Treasure away the Stretcher maybe and get a second Ganadel out to play.
I think that's probably a pretty reasonable thing to do. We'll save the energy switch because you never know. And the Ganadel. Put that on the field. Give ourselves another energy. It's actually exceptionally close to getting a knockout here. I think we're like 1 energy short. And then we
could Guzma and take a knockout on something on the bench if we wanted to, but it's probably more important to just focus on getting a better setup here.
I feel like I'm happy to just kind of bonk this thing.
Yep.
It's not the end of the world. 150. How disappointing.
So close.
So close. But do you know what's funny about that? That's the funny thing about that is that now that Volcanion is like we can potentially knock it out with Mew, which is like funny.
Yeah, I don't think that deck plays much in terms of healing.
No, I don't think so either. So if we can get into like a Guzma or something next turn, then we can just go into the play we had before and half hit this Wailord and save the Volcanion Prism for later.
I wonder what they're planning on attacking with, if they're going to actually try and hit us with the Volt Prism this turn. I imagine that's what they're going to go for.
I'd imagine so. You'd have to.
They seem to be putting a lot of energy on that Wailord. I wonder if they plan on using that in this matchup.
And as you say that, they move it all to the Volcanion Prism so that they can hit for 100. But this Volt Prism is only ever going to go get a 3-hit. And the best thing about it is, if we can get into our one-of Field Blower, and we remove a lot of energy from play.
Definitely seems like it's worth at least giving ourselves the opportunity to go for that play if we can.
I think so too. Now, I don't want to remove the black market. We'll make our opponent do that. So I think we're just going to hit the Cynthia here and see what happens.
Maybe we'll sack into the Field Blower. We did get red.
Didn't get it. Interesting. Because if we take
we're fine to cover this attack.
If we take the knockout, then the energy goes onto the Wailord, which means they get the knockout. The question that I have is, do we have a way of coming back and hitting for 300 after that? I'm not sure.
Here's an interesting concept. What if we actually attack with the Mew this turn?
Well, I've already attached an energy to this Tapu Lele.
Oh, I guess we're not doing that then.
No.
Fair enough.
So, could have been good, but didn't do it. Probably should have attached to the Mew.
That's alright.
That's alright. Do we just hit the thing?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, whatever. We'll
Nothing else we can do.
We'll hit the thing, take a prize.
Let them take the knockout, but we've got access to red, so we can pull off pretty much any play we want to make next turn. And if we're lucky, they're only going to get 2 prize cards.
Yes, which would be great. That would make me feel good. And we get the Zoro Ninja off of the prizes as well, so... That sounds pretty good. We've got pretty much all we need to do. I don't know if we can get to 300, but we can certainly half hit this Magikarp Wailord.
Yeah, 300 seems like a lot to ask for, but we've at least got a lot of damage, and we're starting to get it closer to those big numbers now.
Yeah, so... We'll cop the knockout here. They'll hit us for 180. But at least we know that we're safe from the Towering Splash.
That's actually a play that they could probably go for next turn if they wanted to, so feeling very fortunate that we opened with that this game.
Yeah, 100%, so we'll wait and see. And they're also working with not a lot of resources as well, so once this Magikarp Wailord goes, as long as we can get the Field Blower, which with Red's challenge we feasibly can, we should be good to go.
I just wonder, are we going to have to use that Red's challenge this turn to find an energy switch? Ideally, we could Lily into it, but that's a big risk if we...
It is a gamble, yeah. And we just...
I would feel much safer if we just got the energy switch this turn, but then how are we going to find that Field Blower?
This is true. Well, we're going to have to go for it. Or we could, like, Ultra Ball away. I don't want to get rid of Acerola. I feel like we need to just go for the energy switch off of the Reds and then hope that we hit the Field Blower down the track.
I agree. It's not necessary, but the energy switch is necessary.
Yeah, so we'll get rid of these, keep the Lily and the Acerola. We've got an energy switch. The Field Blower is in deck, which is good. Alright, so we've got at least a half hit on the active, which is good. We will charge up twice. And then we give ourselves an out to potentially take 3 prizes next turn and remove all of their energy.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little unfortunate that we're probably not going to be able to use Acerola next turn if we want to take a knockout on Wailord, unless maybe an Energy Drive would be enough. I don't know. Energy Drive does do quite a bit of damage to Wailord.
Okay. Well,
if they leave it in the active, Energy Drive would actually take the knockout.
Hopefully this game finishes soon, because we've been going for 50 minutes, and things are going... my entire life is falling apart around me. I was supposed to be finished recording before now, so hopefully this game finishes up quite soon. So we'll see how our opponent goes. It just goes for the attack.
This is really good. We can Acerola and knock them out with Energy Drive, and now I feel like we're in a super favourable position.
We certainly can, so we're just going to chuck it straight down. Go into the Tapu Lele. We can charge up one more time here.
Obviously, it's a little unfortunate that they are going to be able to keep that Wishful Baton, but they only get to keep 3 in the end, Jilly.
Yes, that's true. So, bang, Magikarp Wailord knocked out. We take 3 prizes, and we've got an attacker on the bench that we can start charging up for later.
We're officially ahead in the prize trade, thanks to the 3-prize swing from Magikarp Wailord. It's funny, we've both knocked out a Tag Team GX, and they've only taken 2 prizes.
Alright, so we've got ourselves a hand. Energy and supporters.
Once again, one of those hands where the Cynthia is looking quite a bit better than Lily, and I'm starting to understand why he chose to go for the higher count of Cynthia over Lily in this list.
Yeah, 100%. It seems to be a pretty solid choice. He plays that Magikarp Wailord down. That's
for it again.
What a wild boy. He's just going straight into it. He's going to take the knockout on the Tapu Lele because he's a madman.
Yeah, and we're going to be able to only half hit the Wailord, so pretty strong play from our opponent. But how are they going to get the last 2 prizes? I guess maybe that Ditto could be what they're hoping to use to take out the last 2 prizes with a choice-banded Quagsire.
Wait and see. There's 6 energy on that Nagano. It's starting to look quite threatening. And here we begin the long process. Moving the things, moving the things.
It's going pretty quickly.
Alright, there's your 6 energy. Oh, he's just going to put them all on there.
Fair enough.
What a wild man. Bang, Super Splash. Okay.
Maybe they setting up for the GX attack, which would be unfortunate for them if they don't play a random Alola Muckin.
And it's gonna to be a bit rough if they do choose to do that. We're going to charge up twice, and then we are going to Cynthia into what can only be described as a energy switch.
Hopefully, actually the choice helmet won't matter if they get Quagsire anyway, because it only blocks from GXs, so if they do get Quagsire and Choice Band, it's not really going to be much we can do about it.
No energy switch, but I think if I chuck these away, we might even be able to Dedenne or Let Loose. We can't Let Loose. We can Dedenne and try and hit it.
Can.
Means that we accelerate our losing conditions, which is good, because I need to stop recording soon.
Well, yeah, it definitely gives them more of a chance to win next turn. But we got the energy switch, so it seems like it's going to work out well for us.
It's going to be fine, and we can just attack Dark Pulse, and our opponent now needs to find a way to remove their damage, or retreat, or lose the game.
Oh yeah, unfortunately we don't have access to Guzman with this hand, so if they do retreat, we're not going to be able to win next turn unless we top deck, but we're still in a pretty fine position if they don't win this turn.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see how we go. Aquapatch coming down now, putting another energy into play. Maybe they are trying to go for the Towering Splash. Maybe they haven't read Mew.
Well, the other thing is that Quagsire does more damage for each energy it has on it. If they do end up attacking with Quagsire, it's going to be hitting quite hard at this point.
Yeah, I don't even want to do the maths, but it looks like that's what our opponent is doing the maths to try and figure out how much Quagsire is attacking for.
Well, they have 8 energy in play, so if they manage to get all 8 energy on Quagsire, we'll be doing an additional 160 damage, which is quite a bit.
It is. It's a concerningly large amount.
Not enough to knock us out, though.
No.
It's getting pretty close, though. With that extra Ganondorf, it might be just enough, actually.
Well, they don't have any more energy in the bin, but they are going to put some there if they choose to retreat.
Actually, even with 1 extra energy, they are still just off of the knockout. Looks like that's what they're going for. They need 1 more energy in the discard pile, I believe, to get the 1-hit KO. Are they going to be able to find it off of a Cynthia?
They're going for the Cynthia. There it is. You'd think that's it.
I think that they've got the 1-hit KO with Quagsire. Not something I was expecting this game.
This is going to be a wild knockout, but hey, at least the match is over and I can go about living my life again.
This is true.
Oh dear. It's not cold outside, Jordan, is it?
Oh, it's pretty cold.
Okay, well that's concerning. It's going to be fine. Come on, mate. Let's do it. Put your energies on. I could just concede, but I want to see.
We got to see the big 1-hit KO.
Yeah, I want to see Quagsire do 200 and whatever damage it's about to do.
I believe it's 260 if I've done the maths correctly.
Jeez.
10 energy is 200 extra damage.
260, bang! That's a big one. Well played. Good stuff. And 3 excellent losses from Zoroark Greninja. This is the reason that we didn't play it, but obviously it saw quite a lot of success in Singapore. We're just going to stop it right now, Jordan, because I've got to go. It's beyond a joke. If you enjoy the content, then please hit subscribe on the little stable line in the middle of the screen. On the left-hand side is a video that YouTube thinks that you might like, and on the right is our playlist of Unbroken Bonds. Thanks, everyone, for coming along, and we will see you next time for more from the Stabilizers. Bye.